you look at strong leaders and strong competitors like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, any one loss, and maybe it's not a complete loss, maybe it's just where one player got over on them on one play, it eats away at them. I think people that are complacent with those types of losses will undoubtedly forever become that loser.
They miss out on a lot of opportunities, or because of that weak mindset, they allow themselves to find reasons not to take advantage of certain opportunities, whether it's a race or a mastermind or a business deal or whatever it might be, right? They just the reason that they need to take advantage of those opportunities is to help them to create that mindset, but they just can't get out of their own way to see it, right?
Yeah. For me, setback is nothing more than feedback. It's course correction. It's like, okay, I tried it this way, and it's not necessarily a failed moment. It was more of a feedback of that way didn't work in the most efficient way. So what is the data that it's providing me is, okay, now you need to pivot, or this, maybe it'll work this way. That's the way I view setbacks, is more of a setup.
I think setbacks I used to view that as a reflection of my identity, right? Or like, man, that's who I am, versus when you make that shift, like what you were just talking about, when you can finally make the shift to realize that setbacks are just a part of life. Mm-hmm. And setbacks are opportunities to grow and to get better and to learn some of the things you would never have the ability to learn if you didn't actually go through that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's cliche maybe, but it's just really an opportunity, like you said, to setback to get back, right?
So in other words, you're kind of looking forward to those setbacks because they help groom you for something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the faster you can seek out those setbacks, once you realize that, the faster you will grow. I'm a Packer fan. Aaron Rodgers, Packers are struggling this year, and listening to the McAfee show yesterday on the way here, and they're talking about practice. He was talking about practice. He's like, the guys that are so young, like lots of potential, but they just haven't learned how to practice yet. Mm-hmm. And then McAfee was talking, obviously he played with Manning and those Super Bowl teams that they had, and he was like, that was one of the first things he learned as a young guy was how to practice. And he'd be like, I'd shank a punt every now and then. And I was like, no big deal. But then I see Vinatieri like miss one like on a Wednesday, and he's pissed because he knows that can turn over into the game, right? And so it's like, no, we don't, like, no errors. How we practice is exactly how we're going to play.
It's actually good that success isn't in a straight line. We talked about earlier about the setbacks. I mean, those are grooming moments. I mean, if you're somebody who has constant success and it looks more like this as opposed to setback, then a straight line vertical, then another setback, then a straight line vertical, are you really going to be a good steward of that success? I personally know that if I had a straight line to success, I would probably be a terrible person. But it was those setbacks and those failures in between now and then that groomed me to be a good steward of success later in life.
I also think if somebody's really on that straight line trajectory, they're probably not playing big enough, right? And they're not putting themselves in tough enough situations to where they can really grow. Because what happens when they do run into a bump or a failure, they're not going to know how to handle it. It goes back to the weak mindset that we were talking about. Like, they haven't developed that mindset because life is going to slap them in the face at some point.
Yeah.